Hello, Steve White, Trekboy89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, Picard, episode 5. At least we're halfway through. Uh, I'm not happy with this episode. It's not so much the writing. It was written by Kirsten Bayer, directed by Jonathan Frakes. It's not so much the acting, writing, directing, the production side. It's more what they did with the characters. Now, the episode starts off on planet Vergassen, somewhere in some random quadrant, at the Seven Domes 13 years ago. So this is not long after the whole synths attacking Mars and everything. So I think it's about a year after that. We see what is supposed to be Icheb strapped to a surgical table, having his Borg implants removed. We actually see him having his eye pulled out, and Seven shows up. She kills the doctor or whatever who's taking his parts, and then she embraces him like he is her child, and he asks her to kill him. Now, my first thought was, what the fuck? This is the 24th, nearly the 25th century, for fuck's sakes. Why can we not fix someone who's had some implants they rely on removed? I mean, how hard would it have been for her to actually save his life? It's like he just had to die to give her a reason to be a vengeful character. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I guess it didn't work for the actor, Manu, who I met when he was in Australia. Seems very nice. I met pretty much all the Next Generation Voyager cast members when they've been in Australia. But I spent a bit of time hanging out with him, actually. He was really nice. But he isn't playing the part. The part is being played by a guy called Casey King, who kind of looks like him, but obviously I didn't recognise him as Icheb, of course, because it wasn't Icheb, it wasn't the actor. But then it became clear it was him, and I thought, well, I haven't seen him for a while. Is he in makeup? I mean, maybe it was him. I wasn't sure till after the episode that it actually wasn't the actor. I checked online. Just like the actor who plays Maddox is not Brian Brophy, or whatever his name was, who played him in the original. It's a guy called John Mess, is it? Sorry, I wrote it down. I can't read my own handwriting, sorry. But the important part is it's not the same actor. So Seven kills him, and now she's this vengeful person, who I just realised it's taken 13 years to find the person. But we'll get to that later. So that's my first thing. They killed this character that we love 13 years ago. So he only had a couple of years after Voyager to be in Starfleet. Apparently he was captured on basically a standard mission after Picard after the Federation abandoned a bunch of planets. He was sent out on a mission, and yeah. So I'm just realizing the timeline for all this, and I'll get to that later. So basically, they're all getting this plan together to go and find Maddox. Now, Picard and Seven of Nine have a conversation. He tries to give her a bit of a lecture about being a vigilante. She says, you know, F off. Not literally, which she could have in this show. But she does ask him, why are you going here anyway? And he says, I need to save someone who, you know, if I don't die, could die. Which is an odd reference to him dying, which I'm guessing, does she know? But, so, of course, she can't resist helping somebody. So she agrees to go, and they dress up. They get all dressed up because they're going down to this flamboyant Vegas kind of planet where anything goes. When they show up, they have holograms appear on the ship, like that's not dangerous, and are basically advertising, kind of like what was that Tom Cruise film, Minority Report, and they get ready. Raffi, you know, drills them all and everything. She drugs up Rios so he can hide the fact he's lying to this security guy for the person they're going down to see, who's got Maddox. He's like a lizard who can smell lies and what you had for breakfast. It's nice to see an alien planet. or two and actually travel somewhere. So I'm glad we're off Earth. But basically, they go down. First, we have a little bit of a joke with Elnor. They're playing him very much as a naive child who doesn't know how to interact with the real world. And they're all acting annoyed by him, like, oh god, the boy. Which doesn't really seem earned. It seems very out of place. It's like, well, we'll just give him that character quickly. So he's sort of weird. I thought he'd be the stoic hero, but he's sort of the joke in a way. But so they all go down. They dress up ridiculously. Picard is playing a flamboyant villain who is trying to trade 7 of 9, who agrees to be traded for her parts, because apparently Borg parts are very you make a lot of money by pulling Borg parts out of someone and selling them on the black market, apparently. And she's got a lot, because I guess she was a Borg from a child. She was a Borg for a long time, and her body was reliant on a lot of parts, so they left a lot of them in. Why they couldn't have removed them all and made her totally human, I never understood, and I still don't, and why she wouldn't have done that over time. Now, when we get down there, of course, we realise that 7 of 9 knows the person who has kidnapped him. A woman who looks a lot... I kept thinking, God, she looks like Marina Sirtis when in like season 1. She looks a lot like Marina Sirtis, a young Marina Sirtis. I couldn't stop looking at her and thinking that. And her name was... God, what was her name? Vijazal or Vijazed? I can't remember. But I just wrote down what I thought it was. Apparently they had a relationship 13 years ago, and she was the one who told her about Icheb, and I guess she blames herself for Icheb being hunted down by this woman and killed. And she wants revenge, and she's there for revenge, and Picard realises this. And there is one funny moment, I thought funny, when Elnor, who's slow, leans forward and is like, are we stopped playing now? And Picard is like, yes, I think we've all stopped playing now. Playing pretend now. He said we stopped pretending it. Because apparently he's clueless. And Picard has just realised that she was using them. Now, apparently it's taken her 13 years to find this woman, and for some reason she needed Picard to get down there. It doesn't really make any sense. That's what I was realising when I was just talking about it then in the timeline. This is often what happens with the new Star Trek. You watch it, you kind of experience it, and it doesn't bother you that much. Then you start to think about it, and you start to realise how much it doesn't make sense and it doesn't work. Mostly when I'm writing my notes and then talking about it, I realise how it doesn't make sense. So she waited 13 years to find this woman, and apparently needed Picard to get down there, which I don't believe. So she grabs her around the neck, and they're all like, oh shit, she's going to kill her, we're all going to have a bounty on our heads, we're all screwed. Well, 7 of 9 agrees to leave without killing her, so that everyone else can leave without being hunted. They beam up, they take Maddox, and you know 7's going to go back down. So basically she says, well, I'm going to go meet my ship, I'm going to go, thanks Picard. They do talk for a moment about their humanity. 7 asks Picard, when you were restored, did you feel like you got all your humanity back? And he said no, but we keep trying at it, basically. We don't give up, we keep working on it. So that was an interesting moment between the characters, and it does go back to a whole lot of stuff Picard I'm not even going to get into, but like whole First Contact was a rape revenge film, because basically the equation of Picard's assimilation was male rape. So the idea that you are never whole again is an issue that also was in 7's character, which she based on, and I asked Jerri this myself, they based her character basically on it was the way she reacted to the assimilation and the loss of humanity was how she sort of child molestation, that sort of thing, how you recover and deal with that sort of trauma, and that so there's a whole interesting thing about how the actors dealt with those with the simulation and how they're related to blah, 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 that I've heard. I sort of love to talk about, but I've just sort of thought about that, and it's just too much to go into. But so she feels like she's not fully human, and Picard has had that issue as well. So I don't know how that affects her now, but he says, don't squander your humanity now, you know, on revenge. And she initially listens to him, but then she says she just did it. She didn't want to disillusion him. He still believes in justice and mercy and good things, and I didn't want to disillusion him. So she beams down on her own. She kills all the security guards. She has a few seconds with this woman. She basically says, you know, this is revenge. You deserve it. She shoots her, and then the security guards show up, and then she just gets both phaser rifles out and is shooting her way out. And we're left not knowing if she escapes, if she survives. Presumably she goes on being a vigilante. Now, was she a vigilante because of this, losing her child? Can she now stop? Is this a life she's stuck in? I feel like they destroyed the character. They definitely destroyed Icheb because he's dead. And then now the last scene, which is important, we go up, we see Jerri, who was just staying on the ship to beam them up. She's played a nervous freak the whole time. Her and Maddox, she reveals in a video that she's watching that they actually had a relationship. And she talks to him, and Picard finds out that Soji's on the Romulan artifact, the Borg artifact that's in Romulan space. He sent her there to find out what really happened, because he knows there's cover-up and lies and everything. So Picard gets that bit of information. He goes back. We see Raffi's returned to the ship, but she's not talking to anyone. She's upset because her son, she went down to see her son. She saw him. He rejected her because she basically neglected him due to her conspiracy theories, her trying to, you know, take all that on, and her drug addiction and all that. So he's there at a fertility clinic having a child with a Romulan lady. She meets his wife, but then he basically says, you're going now. She leaves. That's a whole nother little thing. It was a bit sad. The son was cute, but I'm not sure how important it is other than to her character. I'm not sure how her relapse is going to factor into the episode. But we end off with Jerri basically killing Maddox. He reveals that she had a part in creating the clones, the cloned androids, the two sisters, and she says that she regrets that. She will always regret that. She wishes that he knew what she knew, and that they'd shown him what she saw. So she knows something he doesn't know. She's seen something he doesn't know about, and she regrets her part in it, and she kills him. The EMH tries to intervene, but she turns him off, and that's where the episode ends. So we know she's on this mission for her own reasons, which people sort of suspected that there was something more to her. This is not new, kind of like a lot of the Star Trek Discovery reveals. We kind of knew what was happening. I thought it was going to be something different, but yeah, we knew she wasn't as hopeless, and that there was an act, and that she had something else happening. But my main issue is they killed Icheb and they destroyed Seven of Nine's character. She's now a damaged revenge based character who's just a vigilante on the run, really not a part of anything. And it's just, she was so much better than that. So I'm not happy with that. I'm glad it's a little bit easier that Icheb wasn't played by Manu, because they didn't have to see him die. But the character's still gone. And Maddox, why couldn't they have brought back that actor? I don't know. But so I'm not happy with the casting, not happy with what they did with the characters. The directing, the writing, everything, the acting was a lot smoother, and it felt like a better episode. It was more I had issues with what they did in the episode, not how they did it or quality-wise. But I'll watch everyone else's reviews, see what they think. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of problems I haven't seen yet, because the problem with the new Star Trek is the more you look at it, the more you find the problems. And I've only watched it once and only written some notes and had one think about it to start to see some of the issues. But I'm going to leave it there, because I'm just going to go off and mourn Icheb and Seven of Nine. We never liked Maddox. But I'm going to go. Thanks for watching this far. Feel free to share, like, comment. Comments are fun. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Episode 6, not that far away.